this virtual information session about the proposed policy changes at Transit Plus. My name is Teresa Platt, and I'm the manager of the Client Services Division with Winnipeg Transit. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that Winnipeg is located in Treaty 1 territory, the home in the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 Nation in Treaty 3 territory. We appreciate your time here today and being part of this dialogue. Let's begin our presentation. On this opening slide is our agenda, and we have an image here of a Winnipeg Transit Plus driver assisting a customer who's using a wheelchair up the ramp of a Transit Plus vehicle. These conversations today are not only about policy, but they're also about you, our customers, and how we continue to enhance the service. Our agenda today will provide an overview of Winnipeg Transit as a whole and all the services it offers, including how Transit Plus fits into that. We will review the proposed policy changes, why they are happening, and how they may impact you. Next, we will explain what the next steps are after these sessions. Our next slide shows an image of an outside of an older bus, and it may be familiar to many of you. This bus is in orange color and shows what buses looked like many years ago. It's a Winnipeg Transit City bus with an operator smiling as he stands on one of the 3 high stairs at the door of the bus. This slide highlights just how far transit accessibility has come over the past 30 years. What once required 2 very separate systems of conventional service for the city buses and a paratransit service, such as Transit Plus, we now see more access for customers between these services with enhancement of improved bus design and other accessibility features. While we have come a long way, we recognize that there is still more to do to continue to build on improving accessibility and usability and for our customers and their transportation options. Our next slide has an image of a customer exiting a conventional Winnipeg Transit bus with a service animal. As mentioned, accessibility in transit buses have improved significantly. These accessibility features are designed to make public transport more inclusive and easier to use for riders with diverse needs. For example, the low-floor, kneeling bus with ramp access assists customers who are using wheelchairs, walkers, and strollers for easy boarding. There are automated external announcements, so when a bus approaches, it announces the route number and the destination externally. This helps riders with visual impairments confirm that they're boarding the correct bus. Inside, the bus stops are announced audibly and also displayed visually. This also supports riders with hearing or vision challenges and assists all customers accessing the bus to ensure they are on the right bus route. Priority and courtesy seating has a policy that helps define the designated seats that are near the front of the bus for individuals who may be older adults, people with disabilities, and those who need extra assistance. Designated mobility aid securement locations are available to ensure bus securements are available for wheelchairs and securements to ensure safe travel. Our next image shows services that are offered by Winnipeg Transit, including On Request, Navigo, WinPass, and Transit Plus. Winnipeg Transit offers transportation through conventional transit, which are the city buses, and they travel on a fixed route. We also have an On Request service that uses transit buses and operates in 12 zones throughout your various neighborhoods and throughout the city when feeder bus routes are not in service. This service can be accessed by Transit Plus customers using the same app that they use when using internet services for their Winnipeg Transit Plus trips. Navigo is an app that you can access through your mobile device or is available through the internet browser to help you plan your trip. For those who prefer to call, 311 staff can help with your trip planning. Other options offered by Winnipeg Transit includes the WinPass program, which is a program for individuals with low income and provides them with the opportunity to receive a 50% discount off the full fare rate for monthly transit passes and e-cash rides. This applies to all transit services, including Winnipeg Transit Plus. Transit also offers a travel training program to support those individuals who may be unfamiliar with Winnipeg Transit services, require additional assistance in trip planning, reviewing accessibility features, or general sharing of additional travel tips for successful trips. These sessions can occur in a group setting or one-on-one training and can be booked by calling 311. Transit Plus is a door-to-door shared ride service. Winnipeg Transit Plus is part of the services and public transportation offered by Winnipeg Transit. With an understanding of Winnipeg Transit services, I'd like to now turn our attention to the focus of today, which is reviewing the proposed changes to existing Transit Plus policies. The first, the carry-on bag policy, which has not allowed the similar flexibility as customers traveling on the conventional service. The proposed policy will better support how customers travel more seamlessly across all services. The no-show late cancellation policy. We know that providing as many trips as possible is our priority, and when a no-show and late cancellation occurs, a vehicle goes unused and that trip is wasted. That means fewer customers can take trips. The goal of the new policy is to improve availability of our trips for our customers. The eligibility criteria. This is a long-standing policy that was established over 30 years ago, and while it served a place in time where accessibility was merging, it no longer reflects customer needs, abilities, and current transportation options. The updates to policy that we'll speak about today reflect the feedback we have heard over the years from various methods, our customers, our caregivers, and our community partners, all of which is the path to change. We work very closely with our Winnipeg Transit Plus Policy Advisory Committee, which consists of customers and representatives from organizations within the disability community and older adult community. They play an important role in guiding principles by sharing lived experiences and community feedback. To ensure we're on track, we look to research best practices from other transit agencies to see what they're doing. What have they done and what has worked? What hasn't worked? And we then assess what would work best for our service and our customers within the City of Winnipeg. Last year, we engaged with a consultant, Left Turn, Right Turn, to review our current service and provide recommendations on these policies moving forward. In 2019, there were several recommendations from a Manitoba Ombudsman report that reflected customers' concerns and the need for change. The policies we are talking about today are the final outstanding items to address from that report. Winnipeg Transit Plus also seeks information from the Winnipeg Transit Master Plan. This set the 25-year vision for Winnipeg Transit. It was approved by City Council in 2021. It provides direction for the work required to create a more accessible transit system. We are also committed to the landmark legislation, the Accessibility for Manitobans Act. The Act aims to improve accessibility for all Manitobans, and we are excited and proud to note that Manitoba was the second province in Canada to introduce accessibility legislation. The changes we are discussing today will help align our service with the Accessible Transportation Standard Regulation, removing barriers for customers, which comes into effect on January 1st, 2027. All of this is required to ensure a solid path towards improving access and improving service for Transit Plus. I will review each policy, the carry-on bag policy, the no-show cancellation policy, and then the eligibility policy. So let's first start with the carry-on bag policy. The current policy limits the bags that customers can bring. Very specifically, the policy many years ago was named the two-bag policy. Although the intent of the policy was to ensure safety and space in the vehicle, keeping aisles clear, and ensuring there's enough room for mobility device securement, two bags themselves were very limiting to customers. The feedback we received was that it was too limiting and didn't represent the abilities of all customers. The purpose for this proposed change was to create more flexibility in this policy. This would allow customers to take the items that they require and that they can manage safely with them. Just like the current policy, customers must be able to carry the bags themselves and move the items safely on their own. So, for example, whether a customer has 2, 3, or 4 bags, the key is that the items would be stored and held with the customer within their seat space, whether that's on their lap or by their feet. Drivers' and customers' responsibilities will remain the same in the proposed policy, where customers are responsible for managing their own items, and drivers will continue to focus on assisting customers to and from the vehicle, ensuring that safety is available for everyone. Drivers offer a light arm assist for customers as needed when walking them to and from the door of the pickup location and then to the vehicle. Customers must therefore be able to manage their own items. They must also ensure that their bags keep the aisleways clear and that the items are safe for transport. What remains the same in the new bag policy is that the trip cannot be provided if these guidelines are not followed. The next policy is the no-show and late cancellation policy. Let's start by defining a no-show and late cancellation. A no-show is where a customer is not at the pickup location, cancels at the door, or that the ride cannot be provided for some other reason. So, for example, if a wheelchair couldn't be secured safely. A late cancellation is when a trip is canceled less than 30 minutes before the start of their pickup window. The policy currently has a fee-based system where fees escalate over time. So currently, the first no-show, there's no charge. The second no-show is 1 fare. The third no-show is 2 fares, and so on, until we reach a 5th no-show where there is a charge of $15. Service becomes suspended once the amount owed reaches or exceeds $30. In the current policy, the return trips are canceled automatically. There was concerns with the policy as it is outdated and not very effective, as we see from other cities in Canada who no longer use this method. When we went to engagement with our customers in 2023, we heard feedback from customers that the current service issues needed to be addressed first. So in 2024, we committed our attention to implementing a new trip booking system and creating self-serve tools, like the mobile app, automated phone options, and notifications, for example. And that took pressure off the contact center so that customers who chose to call the contact center could now be answered much faster. Before we dive into the proposed policy, let's talk about what our numbers tell us. In 2025, we delivered over 300,000 trips and had over 98,000 cancellations. Of those 98,000 cancellations, about 30%, or just under 30,000 trips, were canceled at less than 2 hours' notice. When a customer cancels last minute, that does not allow our system the time to reschedule that vehicle to be able to provide that ride to another customer. So the proposed policy is to really highlight that no-shows and cancellations at the door impact our service the most. That's because a vehicle has already gone out. It's already been dispatched, and that's where we see those trips wasted. The proposed new policy draws upon feedback both from our past public engagement, our current feedback, and the data that we see in our new trip booking system. The key elements that we heard from customers included that the proposed change had to be clear and it had to be simple and easy for customers to use. It looked at eliminating the fee-based system and really focusing on education. What has been built into the new policy is situations where life happens. It's understanding that from time to time, situations are unplanned. For example, a meeting at work is running late, or an appointment time keeps changing. So life happens is built into this policy, and we'll speak about that in a few slides from now. The focus really is on education and ensuring that individuals who frequently no-show and cancel late are aware. And if it continues, that is when a temporary suspension of service would occur. So let's explore how the proposed new policy works in different situations. We'll start by talking about no-show and cancel at the door. This includes situations where Winnipeg Transit Plus drivers cannot locate a customer for pickup, or the customer declines the trip, or the trip cannot be completed safely for other reasons, such as too many bags or equipment can't be secured properly. For today's discussion, we'll talk about a no-show or a cancel at the door as an event. Each event is tracked over a calendar month, making it easy for customers to follow the trip patterns and those events. There are thresholds that are based on the data that we have from our system. Notifications will continue to go out as they do today based on the choice of our customer, whether that's by phone, text, email, or mobile app notification each time an event occurs. That will help customers track their own events. Built in is that recognition that life happens, where events would not impact the customer. So customers who will not need to report each event when it's below a certain threshold. So for example, here in the slide, 0 to 2 events within a month is where a notification would be sent. Again, focusing on education. Recognizing that 2 events in a month, or even 3 events in a month, does not impact the customer and does not trigger a suspension. Again, the focus is on notifications, reminders, and education for some additional information and tips. When 4 or more events occur in a single month is when a suspension would occur. The first suspension would be 7 days, and suspensions start with the next booking window. As many people know, our booking window is where you can book a week in advance and up to the day before 5 p.m. Suspension would not occur immediately. There will be a review of the suspension where an appeal would occur and can occur before they start. The focus really is again on education and working with customers to help remove barriers that may exist. Now let's talk about late cancellations. Currently, the late cancellation window is 30 minutes. As mentioned, this does not give our system enough time to reuse that trip. The 2-hour window was selected, and that's what we heard from our customers in our public education. Across transit agencies, there are different hours that they use, from 4 hours, 3 hours, and 2 hours. What we heard from customers is that a reasonable time would be to select the 2-hour window. This allows customers enough time, but it also allows the system enough time to optimize and use those rides for waitlisted customers. These late cancellations also are tracked per calendar month. These thresholds are based on the data we received and reviewed, and we'll discuss some more on the upcoming slide. So again, there's also a built-in life happens for customers. So from 0 to 3 events, again, a notification would be sent. This is where we'd be, again, working with customers to understand, is there a barrier to the pickup location? Is there something that we can work on with the customer to understand and assist? So for late cancellations up to 4 and 5 events is still only a reminder with information and tips. It's not until we reach more than 6 events within a month that it would trigger a suspension. The suspension would be 7 days, and the suspensions will start in the next booking window, not immediately, so that customers can still have time and an opportunity to appeal or make alternative arrangements if need be. In the proposed policy change, service suspensions would replace a fee-based model. The new model would not be tied to an individual's ability to pay these fees. The service suspensions are a more effective and fair method of enforcing, as we saw with evidence in other transit agencies across Canada. Suspensions are tracked over a full year. For example, if a customer was suspended for 7 days due to too many no-shows in May, and then reaches a suspension threshold again in July, the next suspension would be 14 days, and it would increase in length over time. Again, suspensions do not occur until the next booking window, and customers have the right to appeal these suspensions, in which case the appeal is heard before the suspension occurs. Our goal is to encourage fair usage of the system and to allow our software scheduling system to better use the council's resources to ensure everyone is getting the rides they need. If we look at this next slide, we see an image of a Winnipeg Transit Plus driver and two customers in front of a Transit Plus vehicle. Let's look at what the data shows us. If we were to use this policy, and if it was in place based on the statistics and information in 2025, we had 84%, or about 6,000 customers, that would have less than 3 no-shows a month. So that means the majority of our customers would have no impact with this new policy. This shows that the system recognizes that sometimes unplanned events, such as life, happens. So up to 3 no-shows a month would not start a suspension. We have a very small percentage of customers, about 3%, approximately 200 customers, that would have reached a suspension threshold. It's those customers that we're looking to assist with education, understanding what the barrier may be before a suspension occurs. In order to support our customers and reduce no-show and late cancellations, we have a few things in place. And one thing that's not going to change is that drivers must continue to wait 5 minutes before reporting and departing from a no-show event. A driver is not able to identify a no-show on their own. They must call into the office to identify the situation. And if it is a no-show, they must be approved to leave. Our software has and continues to be improved to help reduce these risks of no-shows happening in error. For example, when a driver reports a customer has no-showed, it is reviewed, each one, by staff who receive a summary from the system, letting them know how close the driver vehicle is to the address and other helpful information. So if the driver arrived during the correct time window. We also have new features that are being continuously added, including a new option for customers to share their location directly with the vehicle. Right now, customers who use the app are able to see the vehicle come to them on their phone. This new option would allow the customers to share their location back to the vehicle. So again, really trying to limit any missed pickup locations and reducing any no-shows and ensuring that customer and the driver can find each other. On to our final proposed policy change, the eligibility policy. On this slide, we have an image of a Transit Plus applicant walking with an assessor outdoors during an assessment. The current criteria as it stands is that an individual must qualify under at least one of the following criteria: unable to walk 175 meters or 575 feet, uses and requires the use of a wheelchair or scooter, have a 20/200 vision or less of a visual field of less than 20 degrees in both eyes that are legally blind and not corrected by lenses, individuals that use and require dialysis, so transportation to and from dialysis, and an individual with Alzheimer's disease or related dementia. We also use categories when determining the transportation need based on the applicant's abilities. So customers may require Transit Plus on an unconditional basis, so they require Transit Plus service all of the time. On a conditional basis, which is some of the time. And finally, for individuals who require Transit Plus for a short amount of time. We recognize that people's conditions can change over time, and individuals may move from any of these categories over several years. Right now and into the future, as part of the application process, some applicants may need to attend an in-person functional assessment with an occupational therapist or physiotherapist. We continue to have a self-referral application, and that means our applicants fill out the form themselves. It does not require a healthcare provider to submit forms or answer questions. Questions know themselves best, and that's a good starting point for understanding a person's abilities. Assessments are not always just assessing eligibility. They're also looking at if a person can attend, travel safely and independently, especially with the criteria of an Alzheimer's disease. We also look at access to vehicles and addressing any other service delivery needs before service begins. We currently offer travel training sessions where a customer or stakeholder can book time with a travel trainer to practice with a new wheelchair, scooter, or service animal on a parked bus at our office at 414 Osborne, for example. This allows time for customers to become familiar with using their new mobility aid or service animal on a bus. Travel trainers can help build confidence in using transit buses by trip planning and going with you to practice using the bus for the first time. Building confidence for our customers is a key focus for the travel training program to ensure successful travel. That can be done in a group or an individual setting. To request an appointment, customers can call 311. In our slide here next, we have an image of a Winnipeg Transit Plus applicant attending an assessment with one of our assessors. Winnipeg Transit Plus is updating its eligibility criteria as they are currently outdated. The criteria is not inclusive and does not reflect today's transit system, industry best practices, or a person's abilities. Under the current model, there are many people that may not have been able to apply, or if they did apply, they did not meet the current criteria. And that's because it is set as a medical model and uses very specific conditions. The proposed change looks at a very functional model. It looks at customers' abilities, and so it looks to expand service to those who may not meet the current criteria. The new criteria would allow assessors to look at an individual's physical, cognitive, sensory, and/or visual abilities to use the conventional transit system. Updating eligibility criteria helps ensure decisions are based on functional abilities, not diagnoses, and are applied consistently and fairly. This allows for a more individualized approach, recognizing that abilities can vary from person to person, by trip, and by environment. This helps to make sure Winnipeg Transit Service is available to those who need it some or all of the time, while also supporting the use of conventional service when it's accessible and appropriate. The goal is to match customers with the right service at the right time, while continuing to uphold equity, dignity, and independence. These changes will take some time, and it won't happen right away. But in the meantime, we are working on laying the foundation to help support customers and caregivers and their stakeholders as we continue to enhance the service. One of the first changes that we've been making is to offer an online application, whether that's for a customer, a caregiver, or someone else submitting an application on their behalf. This adds to the self-serve tools we now offer. We are looking at more tools to help with transparency during the process of the application form, so that a customer can follow the tracking of their application status and avoid having to call in to see what the next steps are for their application. To continue to support customers in accessing transportation options, we will also look to expand the travel training program. The new additions to the application process will be to combine the travel training as well as functional assessments as required. For existing customers, nothing changes immediately. Most customers are approved for 3-year re-registration. When their re-registration is ready, is when the new application criteria would be reviewed. This phased approach avoids sudden disruptions and gives customers time to learn about the changes before they're reviewed. While customers are waiting for the review date, they'll continue receiving the same Transit Plus service they have today. These changes will take time to develop and is not expected to see significant change immediately. Our goal is to make this transition as smooth as possible. We'll be providing clear information and support throughout the process. We want people to understand how the changes will affect them long before any changes take place. The approach also helps to ensure that updated criteria are applied fairly and consistently for everyone. So to close out the presentation, I want to walk through what comes next as we move forward towards implementing these proposed policy changes. First, the questions and feedback we hear today is very important, and I want to thank you all for taking the time to be here today, as well as the information sessions we've held this past week, as this helps us to improve the service as we move forward. Secondly, the proposed policies we've discussed today will be submitted for review to City Council in the spring of 2026. These policies cannot be changed or implemented until Council approval is received. Finally, we will continue with ongoing communication in our customers throughout this process. This means clearly sharing updates and timelines, such as when decisions are made, and as we develop next steps to support these policies. Our goal is to ensure transparency and support throughout the implementation so that customers feel informed and prepared every step of the way. Our final image of this slide is of individuals sitting on the bus with wheelchair securements. And to end our presentation is to, again, ensure that you know that we want to, that we will continue to communicate with you on each next step, and we look forward to continuing to hear from you. There are many ways for you to reach out, and that can be either by calling the contact center by phone at 204-986-5722, by email at transitplus@winnipeg.ca, online at winnipeg.ca/contact-WTP, or by mail at B-414 Osborne Street, Winnipeg, Manitoba, R3L2A1. Thank you again.